Hello and welcome to Marketing Communications with me, Daniel Rahman. Ever since the first industrial revolution, the financial sector has been one of the most important and agile in the world. Beyond just providing financial services, banks have also played a role in community development. Now, in the fourth industrial revolution, it is said that the financial sector will be impacted unlike ever before, with consumers preferring to do their banking via their smartphones and talk to chatbots as opposed to over-the-counter personnel. The arising question is, how can we find harmony between consumers and technology in this new normal? To share some insights on this matter, my guest today is the Head of Corporate Affairs and Branding and Marketing at Standard Chartered Bank Malaysia. Allow me to welcome Jennifer Kang.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show. And today we'll be discussing going digital with a human touch. Jennifer, we're good to start?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So for the audiences at home, tell us a little bit about yourself and what drives you.
Sure. So I've been in the world of marketing communications for over 20 years. I started my career in hospitality and then moved on to banking. I've been with Standard Chartered Bank for 12 years now. Started my career in Brunei. Then I had a move to Dubai for 3 years and now back in Malaysia, so very nice to be home. There's a lot of things that drive me. So family, for one, they always bring out the best in you and they inspire you to be your best self.
Right.
And inspiring people and stories. So every day you hear of, you read of, you know of somebody who's done something amazing, and that drives you to want to push the barriers for yourself as well. The continuous ability to learn, and the fact that there's so much out there to keep learning keeps you going.
Right.
And lastly, the journey to happiness and contentment, which everyone's after.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And I must ask, how do you do your banking?
I am 90% a mobile banker.
Okay.
So I whip out my phone, I can bank anytime, anywhere at my own pace, whenever I want. So I can check balances.
Right.
I can pay my friend back for lunch through Do It Now.
Right.
I pay my bills.
Right.
I even
all on
invest.
Standard Chartered.
Yes,
Bank.
and I only bank with Standard Chartered Bank.
Right. Fantastic. So you've mentioned earlier that you've been with the bank for over 12 years.
Yes.
And you must have seen a lot in that time. So how has the customer experience evolved alongside technological advancements?
Sure. So banking is no longer brick and mortar. So gone are the days where a client would stand in the queue, wait for a teller to serve them. These days, things are simpler, faster, better, digital. You bank on your own time, in real time. Take, for example, applying for a credit card. So in the old days, you would go to the bank, you would line up, get your form, fill out the application form, upload give them your documents, and that gets sent off for approval. You wait a few weeks, a letter comes and say, hey, your credit card's approved. And then you wait, and your credit card gets mailed to you, or you get asked to pick up from a bank. That was what it was yesterday.
Yes.
Today, well, at least for Standard Chartered, what you can do is you can apply for an online credit card. You upload your own documents online. You get near real-time approval. And what's sent to you straight away is a digital card which you can spend immediately. So that experience has changed so drastically.
Right. Do you not miss, though, the good old days of this kind of traditional banking, of going to the teller and, not just using your smartphone? What do you think about that?
I'm a lazy girl. And, when I was little, I used to think going to the bank was a wonderful experience. And incidentally, growing up in Kuching, the bank that we went to was Standard Chartered.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And in the days where, revealing my age, we had little Donald Duck Mickey Mouse piggy banks, and we'd go over the counter, give your coins over, and they count it for you.
That's right.
So there was a nice feeling of importance of going to the bank. It's a very grown-up thing to do.
Right.
I still enjoy going to the bank. In fact, our banking halls today offer a very much different experience to the banking halls of yesterday. So we've just relocated our KL main branch to the Equatorial.
Right.
And we've got cafe banking.
Cafe banking.
Yeah, so you can go up
and credit while you're at it.
Yes,
isn't it?
Absolutely. And we also say to our clients, it's a meeting point for you and, maybe a different contact. Or it's a social gathering place.
Right. And of course, then, I suppose this kind of evolution that we've seen is also because we want to make, or the banks want to make the experience more seamless, optimized, and of course, now more and more people are accessing banking.
Yes.
So maybe if you can share with us, what are Standard Chartered Bank's plans in this new digital era, and what are the key trends that you and your team have your eyes on?
Sure. So at Standard Chartered, it's always client first. And we also know that technology has evolved so quickly. So, not so long ago, it was all the rage to go online banking with your desktop and perform all your banking. But these days, everyone wants to bank on their phone. They know fewer people use the desktops rather than the phone.
That's right, yeah.
So we now know that our SC mobile app becomes more important than ever, and it has to be really up to par, being able to deliver everything our clients want. So that's one, being able to produce a app that our clients find convenient, fast, and easy. Secondly, what we see as a trend is the drive or the request or the customers desiring cashless payments.
Okay.
The cashless payments are great. I don't carry a lot of cash myself.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic to be able to, just at the tap of your phone or, a scan, you can, of a QR code, you can just pay automatically. Magic, right? Not much cash on yourself.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
And at Standard Chartered, we're on this journey as well. So we are going to launch our Do It Now QR code payments by mid-year. We're already on Do It Now, but the Do It Now QR payments would be great.
Right,
So that's something we want to do. And we continue to listen to our clients. And as I said, it evolves so quickly that you really need to listen out for the new trends and continue to innovate and find that convenience for your client.
Right. So you're looking now at the mobile app as well as more demand for cashless society.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that a little bit more. We're going to take a short break right now.
Thank
and
you.
We'll be back right after this. And welcome back to Marketing Communications. My guest today is Head of Corporate Affairs and Branding and Marketing at Standard Chartered Bank Malaysia, Jennifer Kang. Today we are discussing going digital with a human touch. Jennifer, just before the break, you told us that some of the priorities or trends the bank is looking at is mobile banking, cashless societies, as well as more self-service. In this new digital era, right, we'll also see a less, brick and mortar, more e-wallets, and less cash and checks like you mentioned. With all these changes, what are the main communications gap that you see between the banks and the consumers?
It's all about constant engagement and education. And whenever we launch a new product, a new capability, we make sure we communicate that well to our clients. And the industry does a really good job at that. Do you remember when Do It Now rolled out? There was huge industry-wide communications to the public. Every bank was going out to their clients to educate them on how to use this new function. So I think we do a good job as an industry on communicating to clients.
Right. But what do you see the usual gaps? Because what if a client doesn't access internet banking as much, or what if they don't switch on their notifications?
Right.
What would you do, kind of like the campaign work that you need to do?
We prompt. So these days, when you do digital marketing or when you have the knowledge of who clicks through an EDM, that helps you to retarget those clients. So we would know if someone's opened an EDM, if they haven't, we would know to be able to prompt them, to encourage them to do so, or perhaps send them an SMS to remind them to do so. When we see clients who are not online active, then we do specific campaigns to drive them to that. So for example, we have a Liverpool card campaign at the moment, and if we notice that a client
Liverpool, one of the big teams that you sponsor?
Absolutely, and on a winning streak, may I add.
Yeah, very, yeah, they're doing very well.
Thank you. So what we do is we have campaigns run it. So for the Liverpool card, we say, oh, well, one you spend and your kid can win an experience to be a mascot at a Liverpool game. And that just drives the usage. So same as technology, right? We have incentive programs and campaigns to drive the usage.
Right. And I see myself as quite a tech-savvy kind of guy. I like using my phones to access my banking and more services, ordering food, etc. But what I also find sometimes is that it can be overwhelming because there's so many things happening, so many products being launched. How do you target different segments in society? We talk about the young who tend to be a bit more tech-savvy, but at the same time, there's the older generation, the silver economy. What are you all doing for these groups of people?
Okay. So again, it's about education, it's about engagement, it's about how we do it. So when we roll out a new capability, or what we do is we have a robust marketing communication plan which touches just about everyone. So that's our customers, client center, our contact center, our branch people, right down to the marketing comms that you will receive through your phone or your inbox, however that may be. And what we also know is that we don't just stop at communicating there. We make sure that, because new tech will only be accepted tech when people start using it.
Right.
So we need to drive that habit and that culture of using your phone.
Right.
And to do that, we incentivize. So using Do It Now again as an example, when we first rolled out Do It Now, we offered a campaign around great lucky draw prizes just to drive that habit.
Yeah.
And then it starts becoming part of your daily lives. Not only that, financial education then also plays an important role. So at Standard Chartered, we have a range of financial education programs. We have financial education for youth. We've got financial education for entrepreneurs. We support Bank Negara's Buku Wang Saku program for primary school kids. And what we find is that when people are aware and they have financial knowledge, they also become more willing to try out mobile banking. They feel safer, they feel more secure. It's also up to our touch points to introduce these to our clients. So for example, when you call the call center and you say you want some help with a service, for example, updating your phone number.
Yes.
So while our client center does help you out, they will also share and educate you and say, hey, Daniel, do you know you can do this yourself through online banking? So it's a huge education process.
Right. And some of them, sometimes we call this Experience 2.0, right? Which is mixing modern marketing and communication trends. What is Standard Chartered Bank doing in terms of integrating the smartphone, the physical, and the endorsement experience for the consumers? If you could share with us some of the campaigns you're running, and maybe what are the kind of success numbers that you see from this, or your targets from it?
Okay. I think what has happened with digital marketing, traditional marketing, and everything that we have has enabled us to create a full 360 experience for our clients.
Okay.
So let's use Liverpool as an example.
Okay.
We have Liverpool debit card, our credit card.
Right.
And it's more than just doing a campaign around these cards. We can bring clients who are fans into a huge immersive experience around Liverpool. So last year we had an LFC World experience, which was a 3-day Liverpool World pop-up in a mall, which had various sorts of activations.
Right.
At the same time, we brought LFC legends in to meet clients and also to meet the general public.
Right.
And that brought people closer to the product in an interesting way.
Okay.
So it's not just about, hey, I've got a card, but you can really experience it. With our marketing campaigns, then we also have various campaigns that also bring in Liverpool. So we have a online investment platform called Smart Goals.
Okay.
And we were able to leverage Liverpool assets to drive that connotation of, have you created your goal, your investment goal? Hey, it's like Mo Salah scoring a goal. So being able to leverage that sponsorship into that marketing experience, into driving the numbers, we find it extremely powerful and also very unique because Standard Chartered is sponsor of Liverpool and no other bank can do what we've done in that space.
Right. Also, but in light of competition that's happening everywhere else, of course, this is one of the advantages and one of the things that the bank does. How else does Standard Chartered Bank plan to stand out from what's becoming a very crowded space of competitors?
Okay, so banking started with Standard Chartered in Malaysia. We were the first ever bank in Malaysia. We're very proud and privileged to have that honor. And this year we're 145 years old.
Wow, 145.
145. So Standard Chartered has really grown with Malaysia. We have been through whatever Malaysia has been through. We know this market intimately, and that's a differentiator for us. The other differentiators would be our services, our products, our people, how we serve. So while being digital to us is important, it's also important to be digital with human touch. So what this means is we know that every person needs a human touch somewhere. And while we bring you the best in digital capabilities on your mobile or online, we also know that, hey, you would like to have someone to talk to, someone to listen and understand your needs. So being human with digital touch is also very important and a key differentiator for us.
Right. I love how you mentioned it's about not just the services or the products, but it's also about the people.
Yes.
Jennifer, we're going to take a short break and we will be right back after this.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Marketing Communications. My guest today is Jennifer Kang, the Head of Corporate Affairs and Branding and Marketing at Standard Chartered Bank Malaysia. Today we're discussing going digital with a human touch. Jennifer, you shared a little bit about what the bank's objectives and trends are. You shared a lot about Liverpool. I'm a fan of the other red side. On the last part, let's talk a little bit about sustainability and the future. Sure. So earlier you mentioned the bank's efforts to educate consumers. And one of the big challenges in society today is, of course, credit challenges, bankruptcy, etc., and all that. How does the bank view social responsibility in this regard to its consumers?
Sustainability is integrated into everything we do, and we look at sustainability through three pillars. So one of it is contributing to sustainable economic growth. The second pillar is being a responsible company, and the third is investing in communities. So if we're talking about financial education, that will fall within our investing communities piece. And it is really our ultimate responsibility to be able to educate the community on being savvy with your finances, being responsible with your finances. And I'll tell you, Daniel, for myself, I wasn't always in banking.
All right. That's right.
And as a child, your parents taught you how to save, put the coins into your Donald Duck coin box. No one prepared you for the world of what happens when you get your first credit card.
That's right.
What do you do with it? When it says that you pay 20% off that sum, what's that interest?
Right. So what does it mean if you pay a minimum interest at the end of every month? Yes.
Correct. And I didn't know that, and my parents didn't teach me that.
Right.
So obviously I get my first credit card as doing part-time work as a student, and I went wild with that card. And then suddenly I had to work a lot harder because I wasn't doing a full payment.
Right.
And then I joined the bank, and I am better at finances because I've joined the bank. And because of that, we think it's really, really important, not because of my experience, but because we know that many people may not get formal financial education. That's why we really need to share this out with the community, and we have systematic programs around it.
What kind of programs, if you could share with us? Are you going to schools?
We do.
Right. Universities?
Yes. Yeah. So we have Buku Wang Saku. That's a Bank Negara program. So that hits primary school children.
Okay.
And then we have financial education for youth. So that goes from anyone from the age of 12 to potentially 16, 18. And we go to schools to deliver that. And we talk about things like budgeting, needs and wants, credit cards, debit cards, setting up a business. So it's really quite a nice comprehensive program. We even have a module on Islamic banking versus conventional banking. So they're at least aware about that. Yeah. We have a financial education program for entrepreneurs. So these are people, whether you're a micro entrepreneur or a more developed entrepreneur, maybe you lack knowledge in some area. For example, your working capital, how do you max it out? How do you really put this together and help generate that wealth for your business to grow? Right.
And that's fantastic to know that the bank does a lot of this, especially for the society. Of course, one of the big things now are about solving the global challenges, i.e. the UN Sustainable Development Goals, because then just looks at society, it looks at environment and everything else. So what is the bank doing on that front?
Sustainability is really part of our DNA. Our brand promise is be here for good. And we really live up to that brand promise in every way that we can. Okay. In terms of the Sustainable Development Goals, when it was first launched in 2015,
that's right,
the bank sponsored a project called Project Everyone, and that was really to enhance the knowledge of the newly launched Sustainable Development Goals. In 2017, the bank launched our Sustainability Aspirations. So it's around the three pillars I spoke about, but it's really putting measurements and KPIs and targets on how we can achieve sustainable outcomes for our business and have some measurements against Sustainable Development Goals. Recently, we launched a report called the Standard Chartered Opportunity 2030 Report. And what that report does, it looks at the funding needed and the scale of private investment opportunity around the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly in three areas. So it's goal number 6, which is about clean water and sanitization. Goal number 7, that's around affordable and clean energy. And goal number 9, which is industry innovation and another I, industry, innovation, infrastructure.
Infrastructure, very
Yeah,
good.
and then what it does, and what the study reveals, is it maps out the opportunities. It maps out where companies can contribute and invest
Right.
to really help these goals to be achieved.
Right.
Yes.
And how does the bank view supporting, achieving the goals or solving the challenges, the global challenges, with some things which are happening locally at governmental, community level? Does the bank also have an outreach in terms of its CSR? Because you earlier mentioned, for instance, the Global Future Makers
Yes.
initiative. If you could
So
share.
for our CSR programs, we have quite a few.
Right.
Our latest CSR program is a global program called Future Makers.
Okay.
And Future Makers.
Future Makers, yeah.
Yes, I love the name. Do you love it?
It's interesting. It's very nice. It's very, very nice.
So Future Makers is about tackling economic inequality,
Yes.
especially amongst the disadvantaged community, and targeting primarily girls and the visually impaired. It has three
wow.
pillars under that. So there's education, employability, and entrepreneurship. So under the entrepreneurship pillar, we have recently launched, together with Magic in partnership, a program called SATIA, Social Entrepreneurs Transformation Innovation Acceleration. That's what it stands for.
Right.
And it's really about building the capacity of social entrepreneurs and strengthening their development, and also kind of connecting them to the right institutions and people so that they're successful. So that's our first Future Makers program. It was launched last year, so that's very new for us.
Right.
Another program we run is GO, and GO we launched in 2017 in Malaysia.
Right.
GO is a girl empowerment program, and it's about showcasing or sharing with girls that they can be leaders in their own right through a combination of sports and life skills. And so far with GO, we've reached out to over 5,000 girls, mainly in Klang Valley, but also in Kuching, Ipoh, and Malacca. And we find that this program, when you meet the girls and you hear their stories, they really have grown to be more confident, and they cite that. So we've got a GO mentorship program now.
Right.
For the community, Standard Chartered is very committed, and we're so committed that we give every employee 3 employee volunteering days. So we've got our annual leave, and on top of your annual leave, you get these 3 extra days on the bank's time to go out to the community and do something you're passionate about. So whether it's helping the homeless or sharing knowledge. In fact, yesterday I went to Mumbao.
Right.
And we're part of FINCO, which is the Financial Institutions Collective Outreach Program. And we were doing a mentorship on careers for young students. So we reached out to 65 students, Form 5 students in Mumbao. And that's part of employee volunteering. So it's very fulfilling.
Right. Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, from the bank and getting up to speed with the digital era to then bringing society to the next level in terms of their banking. You also shared with us a little bit about bridging the communication gap, educating society, and also a sense of community and purpose. This has been a very insightful conversation, Jennifer. So thank you so much for your time and for being with us today. That's all the time we have for this week. And for those of you at home, thank you so much for joining us. Tune in again next week, same time, same place. Till then, take care.
Ta 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 ta.